Never attempt to win by force. What can be won through deception?
Power does not belong to the loudest voice or the most imposing figure. True power lies in knowing when to speak, and more importantly, when to stay silent. How many times have you seen it? People losing opportunities because they talk too much. Leaders falling because they trusted the wrong person. Brilliant ideas going nowhere because someone revealed their plans too soon. Here's the truth. Silence is one of the most powerful weapons that exists. Machiavelli knew this. That's why, in The Prince, he made it clear. Power does not belong to those who speak the most, but to those who know when to remain silent. A fish is caught by its mouth. How many times have you ruined something by saying too much? How often has revealing your next move cost you dearly? Today, you'll discover why silence is a key strategy for power, influence, and respect. We'll explore Machiavelli's view on the art of staying silent, how to apply this wisdom in daily life, and how you can use it to your advantage so you never make the same mistakes again. Because, like it or not, the world does not reward the loudmouths. Machiavelli understood it before anyone else. Real power is not measured by the words you speak, but by the information you choose to withhold. We live in an era where everyone talks, shares their opinions, and exposes their lives without considering the consequences. But those who truly control the strings of power are not the ones who shout the loudest. They are the ones who know when to stay silent. This is not about being shy or staying on the sidelines. It's about intelligence, strategy, understanding that in politics, business, and life, whoever controls information controls the game. One of the most common mistakes people make is believing that speaking a lot equates to authority. They think that constantly expressing their opinions makes them look like leaders, like confident individuals. But in reality, all they achieve is exposing themselves, making themselves vulnerable. Those who talk too much reveal too much. Their intentions, their weaknesses, their emotions. That's why the greatest strategists have understood a fundamental truth. Uncertainty is a powerful weapon. When others don't know what you're thinking, they can't anticipate your moves. And when they can't predict you, you hold the advantage. Machiavelli made it clear in The Prince. Words can be a lethal weapon, but if used carelessly, they can backfire. Saying too much is giving away information for free. And in a world where everyone is seeking an advantage, that's like playing chess while announcing your next move. Great leaders don't rush to speak. They observe first. They let others reveal their cards, expose their positions, exhaust themselves with unnecessary speeches and explanations. And only after analyzing everything, they strike with precision. Think about any important conversation, a negotiation, a business meeting, a personal argument. Who usually holds more control? The one who knows how to stay silent. The one who remains calm while the other person struggles to fill the uncomfortable silence. Because here's the key, silence makes most people uncomfortable. When someone stays silent, the other person feels the need to speak, to justify, to explain themselves more than necessary, and in their desperation to fill the void, they end up revealing more than they should. Machiavelli knew this, and that's why the true leader is not the one who always speaks, but the one who knows when to listen and when to talk. The greatest strategists have mastered the art of saying little, but meaning much. Because when someone who rarely speaks finally does, their words carry far more weight. This is the opposite of those who can't hold back, who always need to comment, to have the last word, to prove they know more. Their need for validation makes them predictable and easy to manipulate. But those who master silence create mystery, and mystery commands respect. It makes others wonder what you're thinking, what your true intentions are, what you really know. Silence is not just a defensive strategy, it's a weapon of power. Knowing when to stay silent gives you the upper hand over those who can't resist the urge to speak, because while they expose themselves, you observe. While they reveal their plans, you calculate yours. And remember this, Once words leave your mouth, you can never take them back. Knowing when to stay silent is not just a power strategy in politics or business. It's a skill that, when used wisely, can change your life. Because the truth is this: the one who knows how to stay silent at the right moment is the one who truly controls the situation. Think about it. At work, in your relationship with friends, even on social media. In every interaction, there is a silent battle between those who control the space and those who fill it with unnecessary words. And the ones who know when to stay silent are the ones who truly hold the power. Imagine you're at your office, a tense meeting. Your boss asks who can take on a new project. Most people rush to speak. Some promise more than they can deliver. Others try to make themselves look good. But you stay silent. You observe. You let everyone reveal their cards, expose themselves with their words. And when you finally speak, you do so calmly, with clarity, without exaggeration. The result? You are perceived as trustworthy, thoughtful, and in control of your own judgment. Someone who doesn't rush, who doesn't need to talk excessively to be noticed. Someone whose words carry weight, because when you finally decide to speak, you always add something valuable and relevant. Scarcity creates interest. In any conversation, novelty captures attention, and those who speak with restraint often generate greater curiosity. We are naturally drawn to those who say little but mean much, rather than those who dominate the dialogue without adding real substance, repeating themselves until their words become meaningless. Now, let's make it personal. A heated argument with your partner. They throw a hurtful comment at you, a provocation. Most people would react immediately, reply with anger, take the bait. They would allow themselves to be emotionally dragged into the tension, escalating the conflict, but you don't. You stay silent. Not because you have no response, but because you know silence is more powerful than any word in a moment of tension. The other person feels the discomfort. They expect a reaction, but they don't get one. Suddenly, they start questioning themselves. Did they go too far? Did they overreact? And then, something interesting happens. They are the ones who break the silence. They soften their stance, explain themselves, try to fill the void. And just like that, without saying a single word, you've already won the argument. You've remained in control, holding your ground from the very beginning. An apology is now inevitable. Now, change the scene. You're with a group of friends. Someone makes a joke at your expense, expecting you to laugh or defend yourself. But you just look at them and say nothing. You don't seem offended, but you don't play along either. That silence weighs heavily. The one who made the joke starts to doubt. Did they cross the line? Did you catch something they didn't? Suddenly, the joke loses its power. It fades. Because the one who stays silent controls the conversation. And in a negotiation, silence is even deadlier. You're sitting across from your boss, asking for a raise. You state your case, and then you stay silent. You let the silence do its work. Most people can't handle silence. They feel the need to fill the void with more words. But you don't fall into that trap. You wait. The other person becomes uneasy, feels the need to justify their response. And in that moment, the control is already yours. This happens everywhere, in job interviews, on social media, in any human interaction. The one who speaks the most exposes themselves. The one who knows how to stay silent dominates. So next time you find yourself in an important conversation, remember this: silence is not absence, it's power. Because while everyone else rushes to fill the gaps, you are already one step ahead. If there is one thing that sets history's greatest strategists apart, it is that they never reveal their true intentions too soon. They understand that silence is not just a defense, it is a tool for manipulation, influence, and domination. And Niccolò Machiavelli applied it in the most crucial moments of his life. Machiavelli was not a man of power in the traditional sense. He had no armies, no vast wealth, no noble lineage, but he had something far more important. He understood the game of power better than anyone. Throughout his political career in Florence, Machiavelli was surrounded by conspiracies, betrayals, and regime changes. In an environment where a single misplaced word could mean ruin, knowing when to stay silent was more valuable than speaking. A clear example was his relationship with the Medici, Florence's most powerful family. When the Medici were overthrown and the Republic was established, Machiavelli rose in politics. But when the Medici regained power, his fate took a drastic turn. The Republic's allies were mercilessly persecuted. Machiavelli was arrested, tortured, and accused of conspiracy. At that moment, silence was his only salvation. He did not try to justify himself. He did not plead. He did not confess. He simply remained silent and waited. His silence allowed him to survive. Eventually, the Medici released him and sentenced him to exile. But instead of lamenting his fate or reacting with bitterness, he turned his silence into an even more powerful strategy. He observed, he reflected, and he prepared for his return. If Machiavelli admired anyone, it was Cesare Borgia, the son of Pope Alexander VI and one of the most feared leaders of his time. Borgia was cunning, ruthless, and above all, he knew how to use silence as a weapon. He didn't need interrogations or threats to uncover who was against him. Silence alone was enough. While other rulers rushed to judgment, throwing accusations and acting impulsively, Borgia waited. He sat at banquets, surrounded by conspirators, listening to their false flattery, observing every gesture and every glance. He didn't ask direct questions. He didn't pressure. He didn't accuse. He didn't reveal his intentions. He simply allowed fear and anxiety to do their work. The traitors exposed themselves, thinking they were outsmarting him. They spoke too much. They revealed themselves by trying to justify their loyalty when no one had even questioned it. By the time they finished talking, Borgia already knew who had to die. One of Cesare Borgia's most legendary moments took place in Senegalia. 4 of his top commanders, men he had once trusted, began conspiring against him. But instead of reacting with anger, Borgia remained calm. He did not confront them. He did not threaten them. He showed no sign of suspicion. Instead, he sent them letters filled with warmth. He assured them everything was fine, that he forgave them, that their doubts and disloyalties were understandable. Then he invited them to a grand feast to discuss the future and rebuild trust. His enemies arrived relaxed, reassured by their leader's apparent generosity. During dinner, Borgia spoke kindly without a single hint of vengeance. He let them talk, explain, justify themselves, and once again they exposed themselves. When the exact moment arrived, Borgia simply raised his hand. That signal was enough. Within minutes, the guards sealed the doors and executed the traitors one by one. Machiavelli witnessed these events and was fascinated, not by the violence itself, but by the absolute control Borgia had over the situation. There was no haste, no impulsivity, no unnecessary words, only patience, observation, and a precise strike at the perfect moment. Borgia understood better than anyone that uncertainty is a powerful weapon. His silence ensured that no one ever knew what he truly thought, what he knew, or what he planned. That made it impossible to predict him. Machiavelli applied this same principle in his own political life. When he was in the courts of powerful leaders, he never openly declared himself as an ally or an adversary. He listened more than he spoke. He allowed the powerful to trust him with information. He never rushed to give opinions, because he knew that every word that left his mouth could be used against him. Machiavelli teaches us that silence is not just a way to protect oneself, it is a way to discover who is truly loyal and who is not. Silence is one of the most subtle yet effective weapons in the game of power. Cesare Borgia used it to eliminate his enemies. Machiavelli used it to survive in a world where a single misplaced word could mean death. Both understood that those who talk too much expose themselves. Those who cannot stay silent reveal their fears, their ambitions, and their weaknesses. And if this worked in the palaces of princes and the courts of rulers, why wouldn't it work in our daily lives? The lesson is clear. Whoever masters silence masters the game. The power of silence is not just a theory. It is a real tool that, when used correctly, grants control, respect, and an advantage in any situation. Machiavelli understood this perfectly and applied it in his own life. But how can you use it in yours? First, do not reveal your plans too soon. Machiavelli believed that information is the foundation of power, and if it is given away too quickly, the advantage is lost. Those who talk too much about what they are going to do sabotage themselves. Think about it. You want to launch a business, switch jobs, or achieve a personal goal. The moment you share your plans, people start giving opinions. Some criticize, and others even try to discourage you. Some might even steal your idea before you can execute it. Now imagine doing the opposite. You work in silence, without announcing anything, and one day, you simply present the results. You gave no room for criticism, doubt, or interference. You let your success speak for itself. This was something Cesare Borgia understood well, the man Machiavelli admired as a master of power. He never revealed his intentions too soon. He let his enemies believe everything was under control, and when they least expected it, he acted. To apply this strategy in your life, avoid sharing key information with those who might use it against you. And if someone asks about your next move, give an ambiguous answer, "You'll see," or "I'm working on something interesting." Second, use silence to make others expose themselves. Those who do not know how to stay silent end up revealing more than they should, and this is where the power of silence can be used to your advantage. Machiavelli applied this principle as a diplomat. He did not ask direct questions, he simply remained silent and let others talk. And in their need to fill the silence, his interlocutors would reveal information without even realizing it. This happens all the time in real life. Imagine you suspect someone is lying or hiding something. Instead of confronting them directly, just stay silent after they finish speaking. The discomfort will make them feel the need to keep explaining, and that is when they will start contradicting themselves or revealing more than they intended. To apply this strategy, when someone tells you something and you suspect they are not being completely honest, do not respond immediately. Stay silent, nod, and let them fill the gap. In a negotiation, make your proposal and then stay quiet. Do not justify or over-explain yourself. The other person will feel the pressure of the silence and will likely speak first. And if someone tries to provoke you, stay silent. Nothing unsettles an opponent more than a person who refuses to react to provocation. Lastly, use silence to project authority and respect. Machiavelli said that a leader should not be completely transparent because mystery generates respect. Observe the people who hold the most authority in any group. They are not the ones who talk the most, but those who know when to speak and when to remain silent. Think about a work meeting. There are always two types of people: the one who talks nonstop, interrupts, and tries to prove they know everything, and the one who listens, waits, and speaks only when necessary. Who do you think commands more respect? When used correctly, silence creates the impression that you know more than you say, that you think before you act. On the other hand, talking without restraint makes others perceive you as impulsive or unreliable. To apply this in a professional setting, do not interrupt, listen carefully, and speak only when necessary. Your words will have more impact. In your personal life, if someone pressures you to express an opinion about something you should not answer, stay silent and change the subject. And on social media, avoid reacting impulsively. Those who respond too quickly often make mistakes. Machiavelli understood that silence is not a sign of weakness, but a strategic tool. A well-placed silence can disarm an opponent, unsettle an enemy, and grant you a decisive advantage. And now tell me, Do you control your words, or do they control you? If you are ready to master the art of silence, comment below. I learn to stay silent. And if you want to continue exploring the ideas of the greatest thinkers and continue learning how to apply them to your life, subscribe to the channel to stay updated with the latest videos from the Sophist. Because in this game, those who speak too much expose themselves, but those who know when to stay silent dominate.